America's top-selling reference book of all time. We're talking about the World Almanac and Book of Facts. It is a go-to source for any question on any topic in the upcoming year. The book has many facts that are actually unavailable publicly anyplace else. And here to break it down for us is senior editor Sarah Janssen. Welcome to Street Talk. And first, I guess everyone probably needs to know, what exactly is the World Almanac?
The World Almanac is the best-selling reference book of all time. It is also your go-to source on any possible topic, whether it's sports, pop culture, politics. We have you covered in the World Almanac.
You name it, it's in there.
It is in there.
Now, how does it differ from the Farmer's Almanac, which we all know as well?
The Farmer's Almanac is also a great reference, but what they're doing a lot of the time is forecasting, the weather of the upcoming year. What we're doing is wrapping up the past year and giving you your go-to guide for everything that's going to happen in 2014. And like I said, we're covering every single subject, so it's great for homework help, it's great for celebrities, whatever you might be interested in.
So now, how's the data compiled?
Well, it's a pretty long process every year. We basically start as soon as we're done with the last year's book, and we're looking at identifying all the newest information, new essential information, brand new research, looking at what is going to be the most authoritative and essential information for everyone in the upcoming year.
So with a lot of things that are happening during the course of a year, is it tough to decide what goes in versus what, stays out, and how do you make that decision? You know
what, that is our biggest challenge every year because we only have 1,008 pages to work with. And I know that sounds like a lot, but it doesn't feel like a lot all of the time. We're basically looking at providing all of the information in a really concise way and in a really easily accessible way, and making those decisions as to what stays in and what goes out. We're really just looking at what we think people are really going to need to know in the upcoming year.
To recap, or a time capsule, if you will, which I know we'll talk about, that's an important feature of it. How many researchers do you have that actually go into making these decisions?
We have about 20 people who work on the World Almanac every year, and that's everyone from researchers and fact checkers to expert editors and some of the more challenging topics. So everyone is advising every step of the way and keeping an eye on what's going on and what's new in the world.
So, all right, with all of that, how's the information culled and then verified before it goes in? I imagine there's a huge editorial process that you're deeply involved in.
Yes, it is a big process every year. I mean, the editors are basically following all year long their subjects and making sure that they're identifying brand new information, new topics that we think people are especially interested in. For example, in this recent edition, we added a great new feature on marriage in America, which has been a changing and evolving institution. Right. We have some new technology statistics. We've got a lot of great new information on healthcare reform. So we're looking at all of these things that people are really interested in and trying to provide the best available information on them.
What would surprise people with regards to what's in there? Like something that you think would surprise people if they'd be, interested to learn?
You know what, I think that people are usually just surprised by how much we're covering and by how much fun it is. I think that a lot of people will pick up the World Almanac not necessarily knowing what they're looking for and find information that they didn't even know they were interested in and sort of get sucked in into the process of learning.
So what are some of the fun facts involved?
Well, the fun stuff that we like to do every year is the offbeat news stories, and those are sort of stories that may have slipped your attention during the course of the year and are sort of fun. So one of my favorites this year, in Death Valley, a park ranger wanted to alert the public to just how hot it gets. It's the hottest place in the United States. So she put an egg in a frying pan and let it heat up. In just a few minutes, the egg was fried. So the idea was, again, it's really hot here, you need to stay hydrated if you visit. But visitors to the park were bringing their own eggs, and they weren't always bringing their own frying pans, and they were making a huge mess. So they had to then issue a statement saying, please clean up after yourselves.
Definitely
if you're going to be cooking in the park.
Anything else that is pretty interesting?
I also was fascinated this year to find out that there is a new cable channel called Dog TV, and all of the content is geared to dogs. So they have wildlife shots, everything is shot from a dog's eye view. But what they didn't think about maybe is that dogs can't buy the things that they advertise on commercials. So they actually have to sort of revisit their business plan, and they're considering adding evening shows for dog parents.
Okay, all right, let's just take a minute here. So, all right, so when we're talking about images on Dog TV, we see like fire hydrants and cats, running around.
Exactly, yeah, wildlife shots, shots of frisbees being thrown in the park, you know, everything a dog would love.
But wouldn't that torture a dog? I mean, he wants to get out and chase a frisbee.
He might just run straight at the television set. You never know.
Who thought this would be a good, you know, I should be careful just in case it's somewhere connected with our station. But anyway, let's talk about offbeat and most unusual stories of 2013. Just some of the ones that come off at the top of your head.
You know, there's another great one in Massachusetts this year. They actually were having a lot of trouble at a train station with bikes being stolen from the racks outside. And to combat this, they actually created 2 life-size cardboard cutouts of police officers and put them next to the bike racks, and it actually worked. People were actually thinking that these cardboard police officers were police officers, and they reduced bike thefts by 67% in the first month alone.
Okay, that's very effective, but has the word kind of gotten out now? You know, I mean, now that we know, and we know it's going to be in the book, but, you know, really.
You know, that would be interesting to go follow up and see if they're still having that kind of success with that.
You also follow cultural changes and things like that. Your thoughts for the new year, you know, where do you see things going?
You know, it'll be interesting to see. We had a lot of big stories in 2013, everything from Grand Theft Auto 5 becoming a $1 billion bestseller in just a couple of days,
right,
to, you know, the new Pope, to, I mean, there are so many huge stories culturally in 2013, and it's hard to see what's going to happen next in 2014, but we'll be tracking it all in the World Almanac.
So look, Sarah, now, do you all do words, you know, or phrases that, you know, like the Twitter sphere, you know, come up in your discussions? And certainly, where does twerking fit on your list?
You know, we do include a list every year of the new words that were put into the dictionary in the past year. This year you had things like McMansion, smack talk, which I thought was already in there, noob, which was a new one for me.
What is that?
Noob, it's spelled N-E-W-B usually, although there are variations, and it's basically, it's used online generally to denote someone who's brand new to any environment. So if they're, you know, on Reddit and they've never done that before, people denote them as a noob.
A Padawan,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
in the Star Wars universe.
Exactly.
Is it available online? Can people go online and get it?
You can go to worldalmanac.com and find out information about us there. You can also get an e-book edition. This is the second year we've done that. You can download it to your Kindle, your iPad, whatever device you prefer to use, and you can carry it around with you a little easier than that paperback copy over there.
All right. Thank you so much for coming by. And we'll check in with you at the end of the year to see what you're thinking about for 2015.
Sounds fantastic.
Nice to meet you, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
Using the solar system.